Hello and welcome to this review of Watership Down by Richard Adams. Essentially this is Game of Thrones with rabbits, and it does genuinely read like a fantasy story told from a perspective of rabbits, and you know what, it's done really well. This is a masterpiece, so if you can find it, it's well worth reading. What's it about? Well, run to the litter, Fiver. He sort of has a psychic premonition warning him of the destruction of his swollen. So he and his brother sort of go to warn the Chief Rabbit. They meet a couple of members of the Rabbit Police, the Owsler, chief amongst them Bigwig, sort of introduced to the concepts of the societal structure of rabbits. He talks to the Chief Rabbit, he sort of dismisses them, and so these rabbits decide to go off on their own without the Chief Rabbit's permission and find their own place to live in safety. So as we go, a couple of other rabbits join them. Bigwig, who's sort of the main strength. We've got Blackberry, who's sort of an intelligent rabbit. He's the most capable of abstract thinking. Obviously I have Hazel, who becomes the main rabbit and the leader. Dandelion, who's a great storyteller, he's fast as well. And Fiver. There's a few others. And we meet more characters as well as we go on. So, you know, we befriend a seagull, Kiar, who sort of helps him along. He's a good bit of comic relief as well. But the plot is basically an adventure of these rabbits using their cunning, their trickery, their cooperation, and their natural instincts to overcome obstacles in the way to finding their own sort of utopia, I guess. So what's done well? Well, the research into this is fantastic. You know, the rabbits are sort of written as rabbits, so they communicate as rabbits would. They are constantly nervous and on the lookout for predators and humans. They're sort of unable to understand abstract concepts, which comes into play when they're learning to cross a river. Can only count up to 4 because they only have 4 paws. You know, they've got their own language. You know, using onomatopoeia for human inventions like roo-doo-doos for cars. They've got their own rabbit culture and mythology, and you know, throughout the book they sort of take breaks just to tell folk tales of this trickster rabbit. He's sort of like the Robin Hood of rabbits, and that sort of feeds into this, as I was saying at the beginning, the fantasy feeling that you get throughout this book. You know, it is maybe not much like Game of Thrones, but you know, you're sort of getting reminiscences of The Hobbit, or you know, those sort of stories as you go in. And this book, you know, it doesn't shy away from violence or death. It is fundamentally a children's book, but you know, it doesn't treat children as idiots. It's sort of, but you know, it's not massively violent either. It just sort of deals with the real life acceptance of the struggles of life. Apparently the geography of the book as well, it matches the real life counterparts. You know, it's even got this map right at the beginning with marked out where the various plot points occur. The character development is done really well. You know, Hazel sort of gradually grows into his role of leader. He sort of learns to listen to other rabbits and accept his own shortcomings. He encourages rabbits to their full potential, but you know, at various times he sort of acts a bit rash to prove himself as leader, which does get him in trouble occasionally. Bigwig, he's another one who gets great character arc. You know, he starts off very arrogant and bullish, and he sort of matures to see that intelligence is just as good as strength. He sort of learns compassion as well on the way. But also the great thing about this book is, whilst the characters do grow, they don't sort of lose the aspects that make them their own. So Bigwig, for example, he's still brave, he still fights, still a bit rash, but he's still got the compassion that he's learnt throughout the book. So that's done really well. Let's say the plot is fantastic. You can probably derive a lot of meaning from it if you think about it. Acceptance of fate versus determining your own life. There's this sort of idea of utopia. So on the way, these rabbits encounter 2 warrens, one which accepts them, Cowslip's warren, and the sort of rabbit's idea of utopia, I guess, is freedom from predators. And Cowslip's warren is protected, but through this protection, they've got this dark secret. They don't answer any of the rabbit's questions. It's very mysterious, very dark as well, and you sort of feel uneasy reading about it. These rabbits, are highly cultural, poetic, they're well-spoken, articulate, and we've sort of lost their natural instincts. And as I say, we've got this dark secret. And there's also the other warren, Ephatha, which again is free from enemies and predators, but it comes at the cost of a despotic rule. It's very militaristic, and it's run by this tyrant. So basically, in this book, the rabbits that initially run off are trying to find an ideal compromise between those 2. But ultimately, it is just a great adventure story, really. What would I say is negative about it? Probably just the female characters. There's a lack of them at the beginning, which sort of comes as a plot point. When they reach Watership Down, they need females to breed with. But the main problem I have with it is when you do get the females, they're just sort of left underdeveloped, not really used that much. There's one female, Heisenflay, who has a bit of a go at development, but there's nothing too much in it, so that's the only bad point I'd take from it. But otherwise, this is a fantastic book. I'm sure you probably know of the film. It's a nice adaptation. It keeps all the key plot points, they're obviously condensed to fit into an hour and a half or however long it is. And it is a bit violent. It's probably best to watch with your kids, or best for kids to watch with their parents, really, and probably for the more mature kids, not the so much easily scared. But, overall, this is a fantastic story, masterpiece, I'd say. Really good. If you can read it, if you get a chance to read it, do give it a read. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.